Day one of Buccaneers mandatory minicamp is in the books. And if you're excited that mandatory minicamp is here, make sure to hit the like button on today's show. I want to get to about 200 likes on today's show because it shows that you like the content and you're excited for the 2026 season because not a lot's going on right now except for mandatory minicamp. But that's what we're going to be talking about on today's show, which is presented by Prize Picks. Shout out to them. You'll hear a little bit more about them towards the middle of the show. But that's what we're going to be talking about. Just some takeaways from day one. Nothing special, nothing crazy. Just some news, and that's what you're here for, right? Just some takeaways from mandatory minicamp. And day one, day two is tomorrow. So we'll see what's going on this week. But they were out there for about like 2 hours practicing, and then some players and coaches talked as well. So the biggest thing that I wanted to give to you guys right away was Todd Bowles said Vita Vea does not have an injury. They just don't need to see him doing anything right now, which honestly is super fair. He's a 31-year-old veteran. They don't need to see anything from Vita Vea. We know what we can get from Vita Vea. And he's been training with Ndamukong Suh all offseason long. So I wasn't worried about this. But it is good to hear that nothing is really wrong, right? There's no injuries. There's no, he's shaking up a bit. He's just taking some rest. It's more just he doesn't need to be going to mandatory minicamp, OTAs. I mean, I'm sure he'll be back for training camp and stuff like that, but I'm totally cool with that. And as well as the only absent person from mandatory minicamp today was Christian Roseboom, and his absence was excused, according to Pewter Report, who shout out to Pewter Report. They are boots on the ground. I mean, I couldn't do the show without Pewter Report, so go give them a follow on X right away. They have some great stuff over there. And they said a personal matter won't be there this week, but he'll be good for training camp. So I was very happy to hear this as well because you never love to hear that people aren't at mandatory things. But obviously with Christian Roseboom being a free agent, I would love for him to be at practices. But the fact that it's a personal matter and that it's excused, I'm not happy to hear that. I hope the personal matter is okay, but I'm happy to hear that it's nothing to do with injury or contract because this linebacker room is very different from last year, right? The only same person on this group that is the same as last year is Yaya Diaby. Everyone else is different in the starting lineup. Alex Anzalone, your green dot guy in the middle, Josiah Trotter, who I have ahead of Servassier Dennis right now, and then Ruben Bain Jr. as well. So we're gonna see what's going on, but Christian Roseboom could, slot in at that maybe left inside linebacker if they don't want to start Josiah Trotter or Servassier Dennis. So I'm excited to see what he can do coming in for training camp. And just moving along to what we take away from day one, Al-Qadim Muhammad was talking about how he goes about OTAs and everything like that. And last year when he was with the Lions, where he got 11 sacks, he was not there at voluntary stuff like the OTAs and stuff like that. Like he was, in the building, but wasn't there. And he said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So maybe a little superstitious coming from Al-Qadim Muhammad. He had one of the best years of his career last year. He kind of wants to do the same thing that he did this year so that he can maybe produce the same, which if he produces 11 sacks this year, I'd be very, very happy, and he does not have to come to any OTAs moving forward. Now, if you're looking for a place to watch free Buccaneers videos all offseason long and during the season as well, make sure to subscribe today if you haven't already. I make as much content possible for you guys during the week. I am a producer here at Chat Sports, but I make sure to get you guys as much content as the Buccaneers host. So if you're looking for a place that you don't have to spend any money to watch a fun Buccaneers YouTube video, make sure to hit the subscribe button right now, youtube.com/Bucs. Now, coming up, I want to talk about some more takeaways from the day because honestly, it was really, really nice seeing a little bit more of a organized practice and stuff like that. Like I said, they've only been out there for two hours or so, but it was really nice to see the wide receivers getting some work and Baker Mayfield making some throws. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But before I do that, I want to give you a huge shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app, as well as mine since 2022. So that should tell you that you should join Prize Picks. Basketball and hockey seasons are over, but baseball is heating up, so get your lineups in over at Prize Picks. How do you make a lineup, you say? Just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. The new social feeds feature, you can follow me on the app at Reed Barkus to check out my profile and the lineups I submit. For example, I have this cooked up already. I've had this up for a while now, so these numbers could possibly be different, but if you want to get Prize Picks in, like you're like, I don't know about baseball, I don't know about soccer or anything like that, you want to stick to football, Prize Picks has season-long lineups. So I got Baker Mayfield the more on his passing yards, Emeka Egbuka the more on his receiving yards, and then the less on Bijan Robinson. So if you want to make the same picks that I do, make sure to go over to the social feeds feature and copy my lineup or make your own. Prize Picks has an offer for new users as well. Download the Prize Picks app today with a link in the comments and description, and use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Don't miss this deal. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Now, Baker Mayfield was talking about the contract, and he was asked a question about it, and he continues to say that it's not a distraction, and I believe him. I believe he's all ball, and when it comes down to it, he's going to continue to lead the team and be the captain that he is. But I really hope that that's the case, because the contracts in the NFL, they always make distractions. I mean, first one that comes to mind is my producer, Parker, right now. He's a Chiefs fan. Chris Jones. He sat out for a while, and it was just not – it was not fun. It reminds you that the NFL is a business, and it's not just, playing youth football with a bunch of guys. So it's just, I really hope it doesn't become a distraction. But he did say that there's more of an energy out there than there was last year, which I feel like a lot of players like to say every year, right? The energy's great out there. I think it's because you end the season not on a high note, and everyone's coming back being like, we got to get a little bit better, so that energy's high. And honestly, I agree with him, though, because you lose a day of practice during OTAs because there's too much contact and there's too many bodies flying on the ground, and the energy's too high. So, hey, maybe the energy is really good out there, and I love to hear that because last year practices were not energetic, as we know. So having that energy, I love that, and Baker Mayfield being one of the more energetic guys on this team and being a leader, I love to hear that. Now, he also did talk about recently added defensive tackle, A'Shawn Robinson. He said, we need some assholes over there. Excuse my language. Excuse Baker Mayfield's language. And he's one of them. And he also was talking about how he is happy that he doesn't have to go up against A'Shawn Robinson. And I think A'Shawn Robinson and Nacho are going to be huge voices on defense and in the locker room as well. Their energy is going to be very, very high. So I think that is going to help a lot of this team and get back on track because having a guy like A'Shawn Robinson as a veteran guy on that defensive line, and you want to get bigger, this guy's huge. Pause. Now, Pewter Report also talking about Bowles. He's under a year under his belt with Tez Johnson has a year under his belt. He's not running around with a chicken with his head cut off, which I thought was very, very funny to talk about because if we watched Tez Johnson last year, he was just running around. He's fast, he's crazy, and he asked whether he's put on some weight and gotten bigger. Looks like he has. And Bowles jokes and said he's probably up to 125 now. Being 125 pounds and playing in the NFL is absolutely crazy to say. But if you look at his stats from last year, he was not too bad, right? With the injuries in that wide receiver room last year, he got some run. He had 28 receptions, 5 touchdowns, which is honestly a shocker. I'm not going to lie. And I'm interested to see what he can do this year, right? Because this depth chart looks very different with you-know-who not being here. So Emeka Egbuka, he's going to step up. Jalen McMillan, we didn't have him for the majority of the season last year. He's going to step up. Chris Godwin, he's meets perfect back to normal. That's what Baker Mayfield said. He's back to the Chris Godwin that we know, and hopefully he stays that way and doesn't get hurt. Ted Hurst, he's going to have a role this year. And then Tez Johnson, I'm interested to see what he can do this year because I think last year we used him a lot in that motion offense, right? We moved him around to decide if it was man or zone, And it's kind of hard to do that now, right? Because you can just move your defense a little bit, and defenses are getting a lot more complicated where just moving one guy on the outside to the other side, it's not always going to tell you that it's man or zone. So where is his role going to be, Tez Johnson, that is, on this offense? And I think what they were saying after practice today, and Baker Mayfield and Tom Bowles and everyone, it's more of a collective production from everybody in the wide receiver room. They're all going to step up because now you don't have Mike Evans on the outside taking double teams. I think this is going to be an interesting year for the wide receiver group and a pivotal year because I think there's a lot of talent in that room, and I think they can do some wonderful stuff in 2026. Now, Al-Qadim Muhammad said Ruben Bain is impressive. Now, he was talking about usually rookies are not as, keen to working as hard, I guess, because, it's kind of getting used to the NFL and stuff, and maybe the energy is not as high. Muhammad said not the case for Ruben Bain. He's out there working hard, having fun, and he is impressive. And you know what else is impressive? Our shirts right here. Tampa Bain shirts for $29.99, chatsports.com/Bain. I've been telling you guys all offseason long about these. If you want some fun gear for the season and get our Ruben Bain shirts that, honestly, this design is absolutely insane. It's so cool. And it's I don't know. I still don't know how we got his Ruben Bain or the Bain face mask on there. So if you're trying to get some cool merch that you can't get anywhere else, chatsports.com/Bain. Get yours today. Now, Miles Kilbrew, our brand new free agent acquisition, more for special teams, but he is going to be in the secondary as well for some depth. He had some high praise for Danny Smith. Obviously, you can see Miles Kilbrew spent time with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, was very, very, very good and a special teams demon. And Danny Smith, special teams coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers previous years. And Danny Smith, I think, is going to upgrade the special teams unit for sure, right? He is a legend in the special teams game. But his energy, I think, is going to be what brings this entire team up a little bit, right? And I've talked about energy on this show. I think I've said it like 18 times now, but the energy alone is going to help this entire Bucs team because when you go on a streak of winning the division for as many years as we did, and then you lose it on a very, very bad end to the season, and the Panthers just kind of stole it away from you at the end, and it just leave a bad taste in your mouth. A guy like Danny Smith can bring this entire team up, and I think that's going to be a huge, huge value point when it comes to Danny Smith. Not only for the special teams, but that energy of him yelling on the field and get everyone hyped up, that's huge. So I love to hear that. Thank you so much for watching to the end of today's show. Like I said, nothing too crazy. Just going to talk. This is what this show is all about. Bucs fans talking to Bucs fans about what's going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And obviously, day one of mandatory minicamp is what was on the docket today. So if you made it to the end of today's show, that means we're doing something right here. So join the channel and get some free, fun Bucs content all offseason long. As always, fire the cannons.